Macaroons are the perfect edible presents for Valentine's Day and have a long history, apparently traceable to an Italian monastery of the 9th century. The monks came to France in 1533, joined by the pastry chefs of Catherine de' Medici, wife of King Henry II. Later, two Benedictine nuns, Sister Marguerite and Sister Marie Elizabeth, came to Nancy seeking asylum during the French Revolution. The two women paid for their housing by baking and selling macaroon cookies and thus became known as the Macaroon Sisters. Absolutely no need for that thought of silliness, is there? Valentine's Day. If you really want to impress your loved one, let's make some of these macaroons. Okay, what we need first of all are some ground almonds, 125 grams. We're going to use this mixer. So let's start with 125 grams of ground almonds and the same of caster sugar. We're going to grind this really fine, so when we make the macaroons, they're nice and fluffy and light. Leave that to one side and get on with the fun stuff. Meringues. Now a lot of people are panicky about meringues and egg whites, but if you pre-prepare and get ready, it's a piece of cake, if you'll pardon the pun. I've got three free-range egg whites in here. We're going to start off really slowly. And just whisk and whisk and whisk. And what you're looking for is like that fine peak consistency. Just keep whisking and turning. A little bit longer. A little bit more. Another check. And there you go. Soft peaks. Look at that. Perfect. Wipe down. Because remember, a clean kitchen, happy kitchen, no mess, no fuss. We are now going to blend in to this the almonds and the icing sugar mixture. Machine. Give it a tap. Okay, so just very gently with a whisk, fold this in. This gives it the sweetness, that gooey texture in your mouth. It's really good. A little bit more. Okay. This is cream of tartar. This is like a baking powder. This allows the mixture to rise and work. So we're just going to sprinkle just half a teaspoon of that in just to keep that going. Now, you say, Steve, it's just kind of like a creamy colour, not particularly Valentine's-y. It's all right. Just a little drop of pink food colouring. You're going to go pink, really pink. Okay, clean up there. Again, a little wipe down. Okay, and slowly fold that in. Look at that, huh? If that isn't love heart pink, I don't know what is. A baking tray. Greaseproof paper on it, that's going to stop them from sticking. And here comes the fun, stroke tricky bit. Again, don't be afraid of getting a little bit messy. The result, I promise you, is going to be worth it. And you're going to ultimately sandwich these with some amazing brandy and dark chocolate filling. Oh yeah. What we have for the filling, and you're going to like this, is chocolate. 200 grams of dark chocolate and the brandy. So what we're going to do first of all is roughly chop the chocolate, and then we need to go over to the sink. Now when you're chopping chocolate, sometimes a bit easier to leave it out to room temperature, allows it to get a little bit easier to work with the knife. Watch your thumbs. And don't end up like a friend of mine who will basically, let's put it this way, he's not allowed to chop chocolate anymore. Okay, we're now going to melt some butter to make that chocolate brandy filling. This is 15 grams of butter, straight into a pot like this. We're going to go back to the chocolate, and this is going to go into the pan as well. Melt it relatively slowly. You don't want to burn the butter or the chocolate for this one. We're slowly going to let this melt, maybe over medium heat, not too aggressive. We don't want to burn anything, and that's melting quite nicely. We'll go to the fridge now and get our cream. Now, you can guesstimate this rather than measuring it. This is a 300 ml, 10 fluid ounces pot of cream. So about 2/3 of this should do. Keep it stirring, maybe bring the temperature up a little bit. Now, as a cook and a chef, I always like to now and again just dip my finger in. Wow. It's missing something though. Of course. Brandy. I reckon, about that much. While they're baking, here's a little known fact. We Scots made ours with mashed potato and sugar loaf. Then a chap called John Justice Lees came along, botched the recipe for a chocolate fondant bar. Threw coconut all over it in disgust. The first macaroon bar was born. Okay, the macaroons have been out the oven, they're chilled, and I reckon for that one special person in your life, make an effort. Get a nice presentation box, a little bit of tissue in there. Choose maybe the best 2 or 3 macaroons. Because let's face it, we're not a factory, we're not going to make them perfect, but we're making them with love. All I'm going to do is very gently, just a little bit of the filling on each one, not too much, because we don't want it to spill out. Okay, one there, one there. We are going to, one on there, one on there. I tell you, they will love you for this all year long. And then you can't finish without a little dusting of icing sugar. How good do they look? Here's your box, nice and gently. Nothing says I love you more than a little bit of handmade bakery.